Be me. I was the operations lead for Sector 7G at Shop Local, a regional retail chain trying desperately to compete with online giants. My job involved logistics, inventory, and making sure the shelves were stocked and the customers vaguely happy. We ran on a skeleton crew, fueled by lukewarm coffee and the grim determination not to let another small business die. Be not me, Miss Sterling, our newly appointed senior human resources manager. She arrived from a glossy corporate background, a perfectly coiffed blonde in a pantsuit that cost more than my annual bonus. Her smile was a calculated maneuver, all teeth and no warmth. Miss Sterling's official directive was to streamline operations. Her unofficial directive was to micromanage us into the ground while looking good doing it. She loved to quote the employee handbook, not to protect us, but to beat us into submission. Every policy was a weapon. Our store was old. The back room, a labyrinth of dusty shelves and flickering fluorescent lights, was my domain. I knew every misplaced pallet, every hidden carton. It was inefficient, sure, but it worked. The first real interaction came when she decided the morning stock count was taking too long. 3 hours for 6 people. Unacceptable, Bob, she chirped, tapping a manicured finger on her tablet. Her voice, usually soft, had a metallic edge when she was displeased. Miss Sterling, I explained, we have 3 full trailers arriving by 6 a.m. We need to unload, sort, and get perishable items to the floor immediately. It's not just counting, it's a dance. She waved a dismissive hand. The new optimal efficiency protocol states that all inventory receiving and initial shelf placement must be completed by 7 a.m. That gives you an extra hour for customer service. She pointed to a section of the handbook I'd never even heard of. I felt a familiar clench in my gut. The optimal efficiency protocol was a half-baked consultant report she'd championed. It was designed for a state-of-the-art facility, not our sagging concrete relic. Meeting that 7 a.m. deadline was physically impossible without neglecting safety or accuracy. That's just for the morning delivery, I tried to clarify, but we have daily replenishment deliveries for the entire store, not just morning perishables. It's a 12-hour process if done properly. She fixed me with that icy smile. Then you need to find efficiencies, Bob. Perhaps fewer coffee breaks, or, as the handbook states, failure to adapt to company-mandated efficiency enhancements may result in a performance review and potential disciplinary action up to and including termination. She paused, letting the words hang in the stale air of my office. I trust we won't have any issues. My stomach churned, but I just nodded. I knew better than to argue further. My team, already stretched thin, would be the ones paying for this. That night, I spent an extra 2 hours sketching new routes, trying to shave off seconds, knowing it was futile. The second incident was about customer engagement. Miss Sterling insisted we needed a minimum of 5 customer interactions per hour per associate. This meant engaging in conversation, not just helping someone find an item. She'd pull up security footage and count. Bob, employee 407, Sarah, spent 7 minutes restocking canned goods without making eye contact with a single shopper, she'd stated, her voice a low purr over the intercom during our weekly managers' meeting. That's a direct violation of Section C, Subsection 2, Article 6 of the new Customer First Initiative Guidelines. Sarah is our fastest stocker, Miss Sterling, I replied, trying to keep my voice even. We're already understaffed. If she stops to chit-chat every 5 minutes, those shelves will be empty by noon. The store was perpetually on the verge of looking ransacked. Empty shelves are less important than an engaged customer, Bob, she countered, her eyes wide with feigned earnestness. A positive experience leads to loyalty, and loyalty is priceless. Perhaps Sarah needs to reread her training materials on proactive customer relationship building. The implication was clear. Sarah was lazy, not overworked. The absurdity of it was infuriating. My team was already sprinting through their shifts, dodging customer queries while trying to hit impossible stocking targets. Now they had to be cheerleaders too. I felt the urge to scream, but instead I just tightened my jaw. I will remind everyone of the policy, Miss Sterling. I knew what would happen. Productivity would plummet as employees awkwardly tried to force conversations. and then Miss Sterling would blame them for the resulting chaos. It was a perfect, self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. Then came the Hyper-Efficiency Stocking Protocol, or HESB, and the associated new Real-Time Inventory Management, RTIM, app. This was the big one. Miss Sterling had championed it, claiming it would revolutionize our supply chain and cut costs by 20%. It was a disaster waiting to happen. The breaking point hit just before the annual Winter Wonderland sale, our biggest revenue driver. Miss Sterling announced, without consulting anyone in operations or logistics, that under the new HESB, every single item in the upcoming 4 truckloads of Winter Wonderland inventory must be logged into the RTIM app and placed on the sales floor within 2 hours of arrival. "This is non-negotiable, Bob," she declared, her eyes gleaming. "The system is designed for maximum throughput. It ensures our shelves are never empty during peak demand. This will be a flagship rollout for the entire company." She spoke as if she were personally inventing gravity. I stared at her, dumbfounded. "Miss Sterling, that's 4 tractor-trailers, each with thousands of items. The RTIM app itself is still buggy. It crashes constantly. And my team, we have 3 people on the schedule for that shift. It's impossible. Even if the app worked perfectly, it would take us 10 hours minimum to just scan and tag everything, let alone place it." "Impossible is a word for the unmotivated, Bob," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "The protocol states rapid deployment of high-demand seasonal inventory. 2 hours. I've already signed off on the new directive. Any deviation will be a direct violation of protocol and will result in disciplinary action for your entire team." She was bypassing me entirely. The instruction had come directly from her to my team's electronic schedule, under my name. My warnings, my experience, my basic understanding of physics were irrelevant. She had weaponized the employee handbook and the chain of command, using it to force a catastrophic decision. This was it. This was the moment she ensured the entire system would crash. I saw it clearly. The new RTIM app was unstable. The scanning guns provided were old and prone to errors. The new optimized layout for the backroom, designed by Miss Sterling, actually made finding items harder. And now, this impossible 2-hour quota. It wasn't just going to fail. It was going to fail spectacularly. "Understood, Miss Sterling," I said, my voice flat, almost emotionless. My mind, however, was racing. A cold, hard resolve settled in my chest. I nodded once, a gesture of compliance, not defeat. This was my turning point. From that moment I entered read-only mode. No more arguments, no more futile attempts at reasoning, just meticulous, absolute adherence. My anger transmuted into a dangerous, focused calm. Miss Sterling wanted protocol. She was going to get protocol, every single letter of it. I started with the employee handbook. I reread it cover to cover, highlighting obscure sections, cross-referencing policies. Section D, subsection 3, Article 5. All employee-reported system malfunctions or procedural impediments must be immediately documented via the official incident report system. Perfect. The RTIM app was constantly crashing. Every crash, every bug, every frozen screen. I began logging them. Not just a quick note, but detailed timestamps, screenshots, even video recordings of the app failing to scan or upload. I had my team do the same. They just thought I was being extra thorough, covering our backs. They didn't know the game had changed. Then there was Section E, subsection 2, Article 3. Any direct instruction from management that overrides established safety protocols or requires staff to operate outside of standard, documented procedures must be acknowledged in writing by the instructing manager. Miss Sterling had sent her directive for the 2-hour Winter Wonderland inventory push via the internal messaging system. My reply was simple. Acknowledged. Please confirm this instruction overrides standard receiving procedures, documented as 10-12 hours for this volume, and the need for 2 safety spotters during high-speed pallet movement as outlined in Section F, subsection 1, Article 2 of the Safety Manual. She replied almost instantly. Confirmed. Efficiency is paramount. Safety protocols can be adapted for rapid deployment. Do not delay. Bingo. She put it in writing. She'd explicitly overridden safety and standard procedures. I saved that message, along with every single email, every voice message, every verbal instruction I received from her. I transcribed conversations. My phone became a recording device, always at the ready. I instructed my team, stick to the new HESB and RTIM procedures exactly. Do not improvise. If the app tells you to put a dozen Sparkle Unicorn plush toys in aisle 7, you put them there. Even if aisle 7 is the frozen food section, if the app doesn't show an item in stock, you do not physically search for it. You trust the system. They looked at me like I was insane, but they followed orders. But Bob, the customer, wants to buy the unicorn. One of my new hires, Kevin, protested. I can see a whole box of them right here in the back. Kevin, I said, my voice firm but quiet. The RTIM system is our Bible. If RTIM says it's not here, it's not here. If it says it's in aisle 7 with the frozen peas, that's where we record it. No deviations. We follow Miss Sterling's directive for absolute system adherence. I ensured that every employee understood their exact tasks, even if they were illogical. I printed out Miss Sterling's optimal efficiency protocol in bold and posted it everywhere. Every misstep, every delay, every error that occurred because we strictly followed her flawed directives was logged. The 2-hour deadline for the Winter Wonderland inventory hit. Chaos reigned. The RTIM app crashed repeatedly. My team, trying to hit the impossible quota, scanned items incorrectly. They placed products in wrong aisles because the app suggested illogical locations. They skipped crucial quality checks. Items simply disappeared into the system, marked as received, but nowhere to be found on the floor. Miss Sterling from her office sent furious messages. Why are the shelves empty? Why is the app showing discrepancies? Why are customers complaining about not finding items the system says are in stock? I replied calmly, with time-stamped logs of every app crash, every misscan due to faulty equipment, every item placed exactly where the RTIM app instructed, even if it made no sense. We are following the hyper-efficiency stocking protocol to the letter, Miss Sterling, as per your direct instruction to prioritize speed over all other considerations. The day of the Winter Wonderland sale arrived. It was Black Friday in everything but name. The store was packed, buzzing with expectant shoppers. The shelves, however, were a tragic wasteland. Entire sections dedicated to popular items stood barren. A woman demanded a Sparkle Unicorn for her daughter. The RTIM system, according to the floor associate, showed 0 in stock. Yet I knew we had hundreds. They were somewhere in the back, logged incorrectly, or in the frozen foods aisle, or simply lost in the digital ether. Miss Sterling, red-faced and furious, stormed onto the floor. She pointed at an empty display. Bob, where are the snowy owl collectible figures? The RTIM app shows we received 300 units. This is a disgrace. She rounded on me, her eyes blazing. You sabotaged this, Bob. You deliberately let this happen. I gave you clear instructions. This entire fiasco is on your head. Her voice was shrill, attracting the attention of several frustrated customers. On my head, Miss Sterling, I asked, my voice calm, almost unnervingly so. I held up my tablet. On the contrary, every single decision made, every item placed, every delay was in direct compliance with your hyper-efficiency stocking protocol and your real-time inventory management app directives. I pulled up a document. Here, I said, projecting it onto a portable screen I'd strategically placed. A full log. 327 RTIM app crashes during the 2-hour deployment window you mandated. Here are the screenshots. Here are the video recordings of the app freezing, the scanners failing. And here, I continued, navigating to another page, are the item placement logs. Here's a pallet of snowy owls scanned as Winter Wonderland trees and placed in the garden center because the RTIM app's auto-suggest feature, as per your strict no deviation policy, instructed us to. Your system demanded it. Miss Sterling's face went from crimson to a sickly pale. This is a fabrication. You deliberately... No, Miss Sterling. I cut her off, my voice gaining a quiet authority that silenced her. This is simply diligent adherence to policy. Here is your written instruction. sent via internal message at 5:32 a.m., confirming that speed was paramount and that we were to adapt safety protocols and not delay in following the RTIM app's instructions, regardless of their apparent illogical nature. I paused, letting her read her own words, projected for everyone to see. We followed every instruction, every single one. We did not improvise. We did not deviate. We enacted your protocol precisely as you demanded. The outcome is precisely what I warned you about in writing multiple times before you bypassed my concerns. A murmur went through the crowd of customers and remaining staff. Upper management, including the regional director, Mr. Henderson, who had just arrived due to the catastrophic sales numbers, pushed through the crowd, his face etched with concern. "What is the meaning of this, Bob?" Mr. Henderson asked, his voice stern. "The meaning, sir," I replied, turning to him, "is the catastrophic failure of Miss Sterling's hyper-efficiency stocking protocol and real-time inventory management app, precisely as implemented under her direct and unwavering instructions. All documentation, including safety overrides and impossible quotas, is here. Every warning I gave was ignored. Every failure is a direct result of her command to follow a flawed system without deviation." The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Mr. Henderson didn't even need to review all the evidence on the spot. The empty shelves, the irate customers, the undeniable, time-stamped proof of Miss Sterling's directives and my warnings. It was all there. Miss Sterling tried to sputter out excuses, tried to blame me, tried to call it insubordination. But my paper trail was impenetrable. It was a digital fortress of malicious compliance. Her own words condemned her. By the end of the day, security escorted Miss Sterling out of the building, not just from my store, but from the company. The Winter Wonderland sale was an unmitigated disaster, causing massive financial losses and a public relations nightmare. News reports picked up on the empty shelves at Shop Local during peak season story. The company scrambled. Apologies were issued. Gift cards were handed out. The RTIM system was immediately shelved and the HESB protocol was dissolved. I was put in charge of damage control. Update 1, 3 weeks later. The dust has mostly settled. I'm back to my old system with a significantly larger budget and more staff. Mr. Henderson personally thanked me, said he'd never seen such thorough documentation of systemic failure. Miss Sterling, I hear, is persona non grata in the corporate world. Her name is mud. Apparently, her old firm, the one that touted her as a disruptive innovator, quietly removed her from their alumni success stories. A small victory, but sweet. Update 2, 2 months passed. Shop Local's reputation took a hit, but we're slowly rebuilding. Turns out the Sparkle Unicorn plush toys Miss Sterling had us log into the frozen foods section were eventually found. They'd absorbed a faint, lingering scent of freezer burn. We had to clearance them out, labeled icy unicorns. Customers found it amusing, a grim reminder of the chaos. Miss Sterling, meanwhile, was reportedly struggling to find work. Her LinkedIn profile suddenly became very sparse, editing out her time at Shop Local entirely. But the internet remembers. Update 3, 6 months on. The store is thriving again, thanks to actual competent management and a newly empowered, properly staffed team. My new HR manager is a quiet, pragmatic woman who actually asks for input. Miss Sterling. Heard through the grapevine she's working as a consultant for a multi-level marketing scheme selling questionable dietary supplements. Her primary responsibility is now employee motivation, whatever that means. A fitting end for someone who weaponized corporate speak and an employee handbook. Some might say it's poetic justice for an HR manager who never actually understood human resources.